I call you not through the noise of the world, but through the gentleness of the morning light, the kind of light that slips through the weary cracks in your heart to remind you that your life has never been forgotten. There are mornings when you awaken with a soul so heavy it feels as though you are carrying an endless winter upon your back. But beloved, it is often in the very moment you believe yourself to be weakest that I am quietly planting within you a strength invisible to human eyes. I did not awaken you simply to endure another cycle of anxiety and doubt. I awakened you to lead you into a new season, a place where your spirit no longer bows before fear, but begins to rise before my promises. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. As written in the book of Jeremiah 29:11, those words were not spoken only for a few chosen souls. They are for you as well today. Even in the midst of the things you still do not fully understand, I know there were moments when you mistook delay for failure. You looked at unopened doors and believed my silence meant abandonment. But beloved, a farmer does not dig up a seed simply because no green sprout appears after a single night. Sacred things always grow in hidden depths before they rise to the surface. I use the days when you thought you were lost to teach you the difference between the voice of fear and the guidance of peace. Some of the things you once prayed for, had I given them too early, your heart would not yet have been strong enough to carry them. That is why I allowed you to walk through quiet seasons, so that within you a maturity could be formed that no storm would easily sweep away. Just as I led the people of Israel through the wilderness instead of the shortest road. It was not because I had forgotten my promise, but because I was preparing their hearts for the new land ahead. So it is with you. I am not prolonging your journey to wound you. I am strengthening your steps so that when the appointed time arrives, you will not drop what I place into your hands. And now listen deeply within your soul. The pressure you feel is not always a sign that you are walking in the wrong direction. Many times that very weight is my hand gently pushing you out of the old places you have clung to for far too long. You often pray for change, yet fear the very first step that leads into it. So I allow certain doors to close and certain familiar comforts to disappear, so that you will no longer fall asleep within a place too small for who you are becoming. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. So the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. As written in the book of Joshua 1:9, I do not ask you to be courageous, because you are strong enough on your own. I ask you to be courageous, because I am walking beside you across every trembling bridge. There is a woman in Scripture whom many people easily overlook, the widow of Zarephath. When famine covered the land, she had only a handful of flour and a little oil left, enough for one final meal, before surrendering herself to despair and death. Yet when the prophet Elijah asked her to bake bread for him first, she had to choose between fear and trust. The miracle did not happen while she sat still, clutching the little she had left. The miracle began the moment she dared to move in faith, even though her circumstances had not yet changed. And so the jar of flour was never emptied, and the jug of oil never ran dry throughout the season of famine. Beloved, many times I am calling you to walk in the very same way. Not to wait until every sign appears perfect before believing, but to understand that clarity often begins to unfold only after trust takes the first step. I do not ask you to see the entire road ahead. I only ask you to place your next step into my hands. So, do not allow voices filled with doubt to pull you back into the old darkness. I have placed within your soul a lamp that the world cannot extinguish. You may not yet realize it, but every time you choose hope instead of surrender, every time you continue praying without yet seeing an answer, every time you keep your heart gentle in the midst of a cold and hardened world, that light burns even brighter within you. The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, shining brighter and brighter until midday. As written in the book of Proverbs, fear again. I did not call you to live a life hidden within the shadows of your past. I created you to reflect the light of heaven in the places where despair has grown deepest. Beloved, I also want you to understand that true clarity does not come from controlling every detail of your life. It comes from knowing who is holding your life in his hands. There have been nights when you lay awake, longing to know what the future would become. Yet, I am teaching you something far more profound. Learn to rest with me in the present moment, for when you strain too hard to see far ahead, you forget that my hand is already holding you right now. Let peace become the sign that guides your steps. When a door fills your heart with endless confusion and turmoil, be cautious. But when a path brings quietness to your soul, even while challenges remain, it is very possible that I am there. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. As spoken in the Gospel of John 14:7-27, my peace is not like the fragile safety the world offers. It is a gentle strength that enables you to stand firm, even while the winds continue to blow fiercely around you. So today, stop seeing yourself as a soul trapped within limitations. See yourself instead as someone I am leading into a new season of blossoming. I placed the mark of heaven upon your life long before you even knew how to call upon my name. No failure is great enough to erase what I have written over you. No darkness is thick enough to drown out my calling upon your life. And if today you feel within your spirit a stirring to move forward, to rise again, to open your heart once more to hope, do not ignore it. It may very well be me drawing you closer to the door you have prayed for over such a long time. Walk forward, beloved, not with the haste of fear, but with the eagerness of faith, for the new dawn is no longer far away, and the light I promised is already beginning to cover the path before you. There were seasons when you believed you were wandering aimlessly through the winding roads of life. But let me tell you this, not a single path you have walked has ever been meaningless in my sight. Even your most exhausting days, the turns that made you weep in silence, and the moments when you felt slower than everyone around you, all of them have quietly been leading you to this very moment. This is no longer the time to stand at a distance, gazing at the light and merely wishing for it. This is the moment for you to walk toward it with the full trust of your soul. I am opening before you a door that if you continue hesitating in fear, you may miss the season of flourishing I have prepared for you long ago. Remember that all things work together for good to those who love God, as written in the Epistle to the Romans 8:28. The things that once wounded you were never meant to destroy you, but to shape you into someone capable of walking steadfastly in a greater light. Beloved, I do not pull you out of darkness through harsh force or heavy pressure. I lead you with gentle love, just as the sun patiently calls the night to fade little by little. But there is something you must understand. There are winds of grace that appear only in certain seasons. When I breathe new life into your soul, when I stir your heart again with a hope you thought you had lost long ago, this is not merely a passing emotion. It is an invitation from heaven itself. If you continue standing still within the comfort of old and familiar places, you will watch that wind pass by without ever allowing it to truly fill the sails of your life. So today, I call you to rise more quickly from the delays that have wearied your spirit. Not with the panic of anxiety, but with the readiness of faith. Awake, O sleeper, and Christ shall give thee light. As written in the Epistle to the Ephesians 5:14, my light does not come to overwhelm you. It comes to help you clearly see the path I prepared for you long before this moment began. I know there were times when you thought clarity was something far away, like a mountain peak covered in clouds that you would have to strive your whole life to reach. But in truth, what you are seeking has been very near. It is found in the moments when your heart suddenly becomes peaceful. Even though your circumstances have not yet changed, it is found in the gentle whisper that draws you out of confusion. It is found in the moments when you realize you no longer want to live according to your old fears. I have always been there, standing right before the door of your heart, waiting for you to open it with simple trust. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him, as written in Revelation 3:20. I do not break down the door to enter. I wait for the willingness of love within you. Remember the servant of the prophet Elisha on a morning filled with terror. When he opened his eyes and saw the enemy army surrounding the city, his heart trembled because he believed all hope had come to an end. But Elisha prayed, "O Lord, open his eyes that he may see." And at that very moment, the young man saw the mountain filled with the chariots and horses of fire from heaven protecting them. Beloved, many times the problem is not that I am inactive, but that your spiritual eyes are still covered by fear. You are looking at lack and forgetting to look at my protection. You are looking at a closed door and forgetting that I can still open paths that have never existed before when you allow me to touch your spiritual sight. You will realize that you have never walked alone, not even for a single day. So do not continue living like someone standing outside the threshold of the very promise I have given you. I have planted gentle signs within your heart to guide you. An unexplainable peace, a quiet stirring to change, a longing to live closer to me. That is the call of the light. You do not need to understand everything before you take a step forward. Abraham left his homeland without yet knowing where he was going. Peter stepped out of the boat while the sea was still full of waves. True faith does not begin when everything is certain. It begins when you trust the one who is holding your hand. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, as written in Hebrews 11:1. And today I am teaching you to walk by that very faith. Beloved, there are old habits that are causing your soul to fall asleep in delay. You keep thinking you need more time to be ready, but many times what you truly need is only a sincere yes to me. When you dare to step out from the familiar shadow of safety, you will see that the path has been there for a long time. Just as water reflects the sunlight only when the surface grows still, your heart will also see more clearly when it is no longer pulled back and forth by too many doubts. I do not require you to be perfect before moving forward. I only desire that you be tender enough to be led, and then day by day that clarity will grow within you like dawn spreading across the sky. At first it may be only a small ray of light along the horizon. But if you continue walking with me, it will cover your whole soul with hope and new life. The things that once frightened you will no longer hold their old power. The doors that once seemed firmly locked will open at the appointed time. The prayers you thought had fallen into silence will blossom in the season I have ordained. For I do not call you near to the light, merely to stand and look at it. I call you to become one who walks in that light. You are the light of the world, as spoken in Matthew 5:14. Rise, beloved. Walk while grace is still filling the sails of your soul. And then you will realize that what you have been seeking for so long was not at the farthest edge of the horizon. It has been very near. From the moment I first began calling your name in the earliest dawn. Beloved, do not allow the world to harden your heart through disappointment or long seasons of weariness. I did not create you to live like a closed door, knowing only how to protect yourself from pain. I created you with a soul capable of trembling at the sorrow of others, with hands able to open and lift the weary, and with eyes gentle enough to recognize the souls still longing to be loved. Some people believe that only great and extraordinary things carry value in my sight. But let me tell you this, many miracles begin through the smallest acts done with genuine love. A word of encouragement spoken at the right moment can rescue a soul from despair. A gentle touch can remind someone drowning in loneliness that they have not been forgotten. A quiet prayer offered in secret can open a doorway for light to enter the darkest places. He who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. As written in the Gospel of Luke 16:10, so do not underestimate the simple things you are able to do today. I know there are times when you think you must wait until you become stronger, more complete, or more certain before you can become a blessing to others. But beloved, true love does not wait for everything to become perfect before it begins to move. Love recognizes opportunities to do good and responds quickly with tenderness. When I call you to move swiftly, I do not want you to rush about in panic like someone afraid of being left behind. What I desire is for your soul to move in rhythm with my heartbeat, the rhythm of mercy, spiritual sensitivity, and a heart that does not remain indifferent to hands reaching out to be held. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. As written in the Epistle to the Galatians 6:79, there are seasons when you cannot yet see the harvest of the love you have sown. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission will grow into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Giving to this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through hearts that are kind. This is what I say over you now. Each gift you give is like a stream of living water that flows into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and it will be given to you is not just a verse for Jesus. It is a living promise that shapes your future. Allow me to invite you now with a simple act of faith. Come into this moment with purpose, with honesty, and with hope. The money you give today is not a donation, the act of spiritual obedience that lets your heavens open is what opens them. Let go of your seed and see what God brings back into your life. Yet every small seed is quietly taking root within the hearts of others. Remember the little boy who carried 5 loaves and 2 fish among the hungry crowd. In the eyes of the world, what he offered seemed far too small to accomplish anything significant. But when the boy opened his hands and surrendered what he had to me, the miracle began to spread among thousands. Do you see now? I am not searching first for perfection. I am searching for a willing heart. What seems small in your hands, once placed into mine, becomes enough to feed many souls. You do not realize that there are people surviving because of the gentle light you unknowingly offer them each day. Your smile may become the final ray of hope they see before deciding not to give up. Your quiet prayer may become the doorway through which healing enters a broken family. So do not hold tightly to what I have placed within your heart. Let it flow outward like cool water in the middle of a dry and thirsty land. Beloved, my grace works most powerfully within a heart that remains soft before the guidance of the Holy Spirit. When your heart becomes hardened by the fear of being wounded, you will struggle to recognize the gentle whispers I send to you. But when you keep your soul tender, you will begin to sense my direction, even in the most ordinary moments. I may guide you through a brief conversation. I may touch another soul through your kindness. I may use the simplest things to brighten someone's darkest day. Bear one another's burdens, as written in the epistle to the Galatians 6:22. Because when you help others rise again, your own soul is also being healed and strengthened. There are people who believe that peace means standing still and doing nothing, so they will not grow weary. But my peace is not that cold and lifeless stillness. The peace I give is like a river flowing gently yet full of life. When you walk in rhythm with me, you will discover that you no longer move through life by forcing your own strength. The things that once filled you with panic will slowly lose their power over you. You will begin to live more lightly, like someone who knows they are always being carried, and then every step you take will carry the fragrance of hope. Not a loud and boastful hope, but a quiet gentleness that brings comfort to others simply through your presence. For we are unto God a sweet savor of Christ, as written in the 2nd epistle to the Corinthians 2:15. You do not need to strive to prove your light. When I truly dwell within you, that light will naturally shine forth. And then you will witness something beautiful. Souls that were once lost will begin searching for the source of light through the life you live, not because you are more perfect than they are, but because they see within you a peace this world could never create. Someone may rediscover hope simply by hearing a gentle word from your lips. Someone else may desire to return to me because they see within your eyes a love that does not condemn. Never underestimate the influence of a life that loves sincerely. Even a small lamp can guide many people through the darkness of night. And each day, as you continue walking in tenderness and willingness, the calling I have placed upon your life will become clearer within your soul. It will not arrive like thunder meant to terrify you, but like the soft ringing of a bell at midday, causing your spirit to recognize that you are finally living according to what I created you to be. Let your light so shine before men, as spoken in the Gospel of Matthew 5:16. And as you continue opening your hands to love, you will realize that, while you are warming the hearts of others, Your own soul is also being made brighter by me day after day. Beloved, there have been times when you believed you were being wise by slowing down, by weighing everything one more time, by keeping yourself suspended in the middle of a decision in order to avoid every possible risk. But I want you to learn how to discern what is truly speaking within your heart. Not every delay comes from my guidance. Some fears are extremely subtle. They do not shout loudly enough to send you into panic, nor do they immediately drag you into darkness. Instead, they quietly pull you backward one small step at a time, disguising themselves as caution, making you believe you are simply waiting for the right moment. And so, day after day passes while you remain standing before the door I have already opened, and your soul slowly grows weary from constantly looking ahead without ever daring to step forward. Today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as written in the epistle to the Hebrews 3:15. There are moments when heaven itself is moving very near to your life, and what I seek is not absolute perfection, but a heart soft enough to respond to my call. I know you often think you need more time to prepare. You want everything to become completely clear, every emotion perfectly settled, every doubt entirely gone, before you dare move forward. But beloved, if everything were already certain before your eyes, then it would no longer be faith. Faith always carries a slight trembling in its steps. Yet, it continues moving toward the light, because it knows who is waiting at the end of the road. When I called Abraham to leave his homeland, I did not hand him a detailed map of the future. When I called Moses to stand before the Red Sea, the waters did not part immediately. And when Peter stepped out of the boat, the sea was still the sea. Yet it was in the very moment they obeyed amidst uncertainty that my power began to reveal itself. The just shall live by faith, as written in the epistle to the Romans 1:10-17. You do not need to see the entire road before you begin walking. You only need to trust that I am holding your hand. Remember Esther, the young woman brought into the palace during a dangerous hour for her people. There was a moment when she could have chosen silence in order to preserve her own safety. Fear whispered to her, "Do not speak, do not take the risk. Wait for another moment that feels safer and more convenient." But Mordecai told her that perhaps she had been placed in that position for such a time as this. And when Esther decided to step before the king, even while her heart trembled with fear, an entire nation was saved. Beloved, many times what is waiting on the other side of your obedience is not only blessing for your own life, but life itself, for the people I desire to touch through you. If Esther had continued delaying because she wanted to feel completely ready, the season of deliverance might have passed by. I do not want you to live with regret, because fear disguised as wisdom held your steps captive for too long. Some opportunities I send are like the first rain upon dry ground. If you open your heart to receive them, the seeds will quickly take root and begin to grow. But if you keep your heart closed in hesitation, the soil will gradually harden, and what once could have borne fruit will begin to wither away. I do not say this to fill you with fear, but so you may understand the value of responding at the right time. There are seasons when I am breathing new life into your soul, opening doors that never existed before. And the only reason you may miss them is not because I am unfaithful, but because you continue stepping backward from my invitation. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. as written in Revelation 3:28, when I open a door, do not merely stand outside gazing at the light. Step forward with the assurance that I have already gone before you. Beloved, true wisdom is not found in avoiding every risk in order to remain forever within familiar places. True wisdom is recognizing when I am moving and having the courage to follow me, even while many questions still remain. The people I have used most powerfully were never those who felt no fear. They were simply those who refused to let fear rule their lives. David still stepped forward to face Goliath, while all Israel trembled. Joshua still led the people across the Jordan, while the river overflowed its banks. Mary still said, "Let it be unto me." Even though she could not fully understand where the road ahead would lead, at each time I revealed my power through hearts that chose trust over endless analysis. So today, allow me to blow away the thin mist, clouding your spiritual vision. The things you call waiting just a little longer may quietly be stealing from you. The season of flourishing I prepared long ago. I am not calling you into recklessness, but neither do I want you trapped within the comfort zone of delay. There is a great difference between peace and stagnation. Peace allows you to rest in me and then move forward boldly. Stagnation keeps you standing still for so long that your soul slowly loses its vitality. The Lord shall guide thee continually, as written in the book of Isaiah 58:11. If I am the one leading your path, you do not need to wait until every wind has stopped blowing before setting sail. Walk forward, beloved. Walk with the tenderness of a heart willing to listen, and with the courage of someone who knows they are being upheld. Once you cross beyond the threshold of hesitation, you will realize that many of the worries that once kept you awake at night vanish like mist beneath the morning sun. And then you will understand the most beautiful thing was never how perfectly prepared you were, but that even within your trembling, I still found a sincere yes within your heart. Beloved, there are times when fear does not enter your heart like a violent storm, but like a soft blanket laid over your will, lulling you to sleep within delay. It does not tell you to completely abandon what I have placed inside your heart. It simply whispers gently, "Tomorrow will be fine. Wait a little longer." Begin when everything becomes clearer. And because that delay appears so harmless, many souls never realize they are being held back, right at the threshold of a new season. Beloved, what causes a fire to die is often not a great rainstorm, but the absence of anyone continuing to place wood upon it. In the same way, when I ignite within you a holy stirring, a righteous desire, a sudden clarity about what you are meant to do, I do not want you merely to admire it, while allowing time to slowly cool your soul, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, as written in the Epistle to the Romans 12:11. Some flames remain alive only through the obedient steps you are willing to take. I know you often think there will be a more perfect day to begin, a day when you no longer feel doubt, no longer feel wary, no longer sense fear creeping into your thoughts. But beloved, if you keep waiting until the sky is completely free of clouds, you may never step out of the familiar boat you have grown comfortable within. Remember those whom I called throughout Scripture. They did not move only when circumstances became favorable. They moved when their hearts chose to trust me more than their uncertainty. Noah began building the ark before a single drop of rain had fallen upon the earth. Joseph remained faithful even within the prison, before ever seeing the palace. and the woman who had suffered from bleeding for 12 years, pressed through the crowd to touch the hem of my garment, even while her body was weak and her heart trembling. Miracles did not wait until they felt strong enough to appear. Miracles met them along the road of obedience. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed, as spoken in the Gospel of John 20:29. Faith is not standing still until everything becomes certain. Faith is walking in the small light I have already given you, and trusting that I will reveal more light for the next step. Learn to discern the difference between resting in me and stagnation created by fear. There is a kind of slowing down that is holy when your soul is resting, being restored, healed, and prepared by me. But there is also a kind of stillness that slowly drains the life from your spirit. It causes you to think too much while stepping too little. It fills your heart with endless questions while leaving you without peace. When you are truly being led by me, even if you do not yet understand everything, there will still be a quiet current of peace deep within you, sustaining your soul. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. As written in the book of Psalms 32:8, I do not guide you through chaos that leaves you paralyzed. I guide you with enough light for you to move forward courageously, one step at a time. Remember the people of Israel standing before the Jordan River during the season of flooding. The waters rushed so fiercely that stepping into them seemed far too dangerous. Yet I did not part the river from a distance before asking them to move. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. The priests had to place their feet into the water first, and only when their feet touched the river did the waters begin to stop and open into a pathway. Do you see now? Some doors open only when you move toward them in trust. If they had remained standing on the shore, waiting for absolute certainty, the people would have remained trapped in the old land forever. And so it is with you. I do not want you to spend your entire life standing at the border between promise and hesitation. I want you to step in, beloved. Every day you delay what I have already illuminated within your heart. You are not only losing time, you are also losing opportunities for your soul to grow more deeply. There are seeds that can only sprout in their appointed season. If you continue holding them tightly in your hands because you are afraid to sow them into the ground, they will never become the garden I intended. I have placed within you gifts, ideas, words of love, and acts of goodness that are still waiting to be brought forth. Do not let them sleep too long within the safety of endless thinking. Whatever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. As written in the book of Ecclesiastes 9, then I did not give you light to hide deep within yourself. I gave it to guide the steps you must take today. And then you will begin to understand that the pressure you are feeling is not always a sign of opposition. Many times that very pressure is the final force that causes a seed to break open and begin to grow. If a seed insists on remaining in its old form because it feels safer there, it will never become a mighty tree. In the same way, I am leading you through a transformation. You may feel uncomfortable, and you may sense yourself being urged to change more quickly than you expected. But I am not doing this to exhaust you. I am drawing you out of a place too small for what I have planted within your soul. Behold, I will do a new thing, as written in the book of Isaiah 43:19. And that new thing does not begin on some perfect future day. It begins with your yes today. So let your feet move more quickly than the voice of delay. Step forward before fear has time to rebuild the old walls within your mind. Trust that if I have called you onward, I have already prepared the ground beneath your feet. The things that make you tremble today will soon become testimonies of my faithfulness. And when you look back, you will understand this. The beauty was never in beginning perfectly, but in choosing to walk with me despite all your fears. Beloved, I see the silent nights when your heart feels as though it is carrying an entire storm-filled sky upon its shoulders. There are times when you wonder why, even after trying to walk faithfully with me, the pressure around you only seems to increase. You thought that being closer to the light would make everything easier. But beloved, many times what happens before a door finally opens is not immediate relief, but one final wave of pressure so intense that your soul feels unable to endure anymore. Do not be afraid of this. There are seasons when I allow pressure to come not to crush you, but to awaken within you a strength you never knew you possessed. My strength is made perfect in weakness, as written in the second epistle to the Corinthians 12:9. It is precisely in the place where you believe you are about to run empty that my power finds the greatest room to reveal itself. Look at the seed buried deep within the earth. If it could speak, perhaps it would believe that the heavy soil above it was trying to bury it forever. But in truth, that very pressure is teaching it how to root deeply and rise upward with greater strength. Without the pressure of darkness and soil, the young sprout would be too weak to stand beneath the sunlight, and so it is with you. I am not allowing you to walk through these tense and exhausting days without purpose. I am maturing your soul far beyond what your natural eyes can see. Some forms of patience can only be formed through waiting. Some forms of courage only appear when you continue moving forward, even while your heart still trembles. And some great doors open only for those who have learned not to give up in the final moments. Tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, as written in the epistle to the Romans 5:3-4. What is happening to you is not merely a trial, it is also preparation. I know there are moments when you want to stop, simply to escape the feeling of constant pressure. But beloved, many people give up only a few steps before seeing the miracle I prepared for them. They mistake pressure as a sign to turn back, when in truth, it is often the signal that they are standing very near a new doorway. Remember the people of Israel standing before the Red Sea. Before them was deep water, and behind them the armies of Egypt were drawing near. Everything looked as though there was no way of escape. Yet it was precisely when the pressure reached its highest point that I opened the sea into a pathway. If they had turned back in fear at that moment, they would never have stepped into freedom. Do you see now? Some miracles appear only when you continue taking one more step in faith, The Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace, as written in the book of Exodus 14:14. And that peace does not mean remaining motionless in despair. It means keeping your trust alive while your feet continue moving forward. Do not think that the one opposing you is stronger than the light I have placed within your life. The loudest roars often rise when darkness realizes its time is drawing to an end. The enemy does not need to stop the person who has already sat down and surrendered. It only seeks to make the one standing closest to the finish line begin doubting themselves. So today, I want you to stop seeing pressure as a sign of failure. See it instead as the sound of drums building before the curtain rises on a new season. I have led you through far too much to abandon you here. I have never forgotten the tears you hid in silence, the prayers you thought no one heard, or the moments you had to appear strong when inwardly you were almost exhausted. I am still here. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee, as written in the book of Isaiah 4:3-9-2. That promise does not change simply because today you are weary. Remember David before he ever became king, before wearing the crown. He endured long seasons of being hunted through the wilderness like an exile. There were nights when he slept inside caves while hearing the footsteps of enemies searching to take his life. That pressure was enough to make anyone believe my promise had failed. Yet it was in the wilderness that I shaped David's heart so he would become not merely a powerful king, but a man who knew how to depend upon me. If David had desired only the throne while refusing the pressure of the journey, he would never have become deep enough to carry such a calling. Beloved, I am also preparing you for something greater than your present season, and sometimes that preparation requires days in which your soul must learn how to stand firm beneath pressure. I want you to understand that the limits you feel are not walls meant to stop you. They are more like a bowstring being drawn tight before an arrow is released farther than ever before. If your heart feels heavy today, let that heaviness draw you nearer to me. Instead of pushing you away from hope, do not force yourself to carry everything alone. Give to me the burdens you can no longer bear. For I never called you to fight through your own strength. Call me unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest, as spoken in the Gospel of Matthew 11:28. The rest I give does not always remove every battle immediately. It gives you the strength not to collapse in the middle of the battle. And the day will come when you look back upon this season with different eyes. You will realize that the very pressure that once made you weep became the force that pushed you into a stronger and clearer version of yourself. You will understand why I would not allow you to remain in the old land. For beyond these exhausting days waits a new sky, a new season of blossoming, and a new freedom for your soul. So today, do not step backward. Rise once more. Take one more step. And when you believe you have only your final ounce of strength remaining, you will suddenly realize that my hand has been holding you all along and has never let go. Beloved, if today you feel pressure closing in from every side, do not immediately assume that you have been driven into a dead end. There are doors I close not to end your journey, but to redirect you toward a wider path you once lacked the courage to enter. Seen through natural eyes, pressure appears like a wall that leaves you weary and trapped. But seen through the eyes of faith, you will recognize it as my hand redirecting your steps away from narrow places and towards something greater. My ways are higher than your ways. As written in the book of Isaiah 55:9, there were times when you asked me to open doors, yet instead I allowed pressure to push you out of the old places first. Because without that pressure, perhaps you would have remained within familiar territory forever and never discovered the new horizon I had prepared for you. I know there were moments when you believed you were about to run completely empty, but beloved, much of the strength I have placed within you only reveals itself when you are forced to move beyond the limits you once believed you had. Just as water reveals its force when pressed through a narrow passage in the rocks, your soul is also being shaped through these days of pressure. I use previous seasons to refine you quietly and unseen. The times you were disappointed yet still rose again. The nights you wept yet continued praying. The seasons when you thought you were making no progress at all. All of it was preparation. Nothing you have endured has been wasted in my hands. The trying of your faith worketh patience, as written in the epistle of James 103. And now what I planted within you is beginning to bloom in its appointed season. Beloved, do not look at pressure merely as something to endure. Learn to turn it into the force that moves you forward. A person rowing through violent waters cannot keep staring at the oars while remaining terrified of every crashing wave. If their eyes remain fixed only upon the storm, they will lose direction. But if they keep their gaze on the shore ahead, every stroke will bring them closer to safety. And so it is with you. Do not allow your mind to be swallowed by every noise surrounding you. Keep your eyes fixed upon the words I have spoken over your life. I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me, as written in the epistle to the Philippians 4:13. Your strength does not come from easy circumstances, but from the fact that I am with you within those circumstances. Remember Joseph in Egypt. Before he stepped into authority over an entire nation, his life was repeatedly crushed like grain beneath a millstone. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and forgotten in prison to naturalize. All that pressure seemed intended only to destroy him, but in truth, every painful season was training Joseph for the great responsibility ahead. Prison taught him patience. Betrayal taught him mercy. Loneliness taught him to depend more upon me than upon people. And when the appointed time arrived, he was not only capable of ruling, he possessed the depth necessary to save many lives during a season of famine. Beloved, I am doing the same within you. If pressure is weighing heavily upon your soul today, it may very well be because I am expanding your capacity for something greater than you ever imagined possible. There are people who pray to enter a new season while resisting every process that would mature them enough to carry it. You cannot ask for wings and then fear the strong winds. An eagle only learns to soar high when it faces the currents that lift it away from the cliffs. If it clings forever to safety, it will never discover how vast the sky prepared for it truly is. I do not want you merely to survive this life. I want you to rise within the purpose I placed upon your existence. So do not despise pressure. Ask me what I am teaching you through it. All things work together for good to them that love God. As written in the epistle to the Romans 8:28, even the thing exhausting you today may become the bridge leading you toward a place far more alive than before. I know you have endured longer than you ever thought you could, and I see what many others cannot see. The quiet maturity that has formed within your soul. You are no longer the person who collapses as easily as before. The battles you have survived have strengthened your shoulders. The times you rose again after disappointment have deepened your faith. And now all of those lessons are converging for a very important transition. This final pressure is not a sign that you are about to lose. It is more like the final examination before a new door fully opens. A blacksmith does not send a sword into battle immediately after the first heating. He continues placing it into the fire and forging it until the blade becomes sharp enough and strong enough. You are standing within that final moment of refinement. Now, so today, lift your head instead of lowering it in exhaustion. Let pressure remind you that what I promised is very near. A field ready for harvest does not wait forever for the reaper. A favorable wind does not remain still forever for the sailor preparing to depart. And so it is with your new season. Do not return to the old place of safety simply because the waves sound louder than usual. Beyond this pressure lies a wider sky, a deeper joy, and a stronger version of yourself, the version I saw long ago. Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid. As written in the book of Joshua 109, for I did not train you only for you to collapse at the edge of the finish line. I am leading you toward crossing over with eyes shining in victory, so that you may finally understand that nothing you endured was meaningless, and that my hand has never left you for even a single moment. Beloved, when pressure begins to rise like a tide reaching the shores of your heart, do not immediately assume that darkness is winning. Some sounds within the soul are not warnings of an ending, but the trumpet call of a new beginning drawing very near. I want you to learn how to see these difficult days through different eyes. What feels like pressure today may actually be the hand of heaven gently lifting you out of old ground. Without that force pushing against you, perhaps you would have remained forever within familiar places, continuing to accept a life smaller than what I intended for you. But I love you far too deeply to allow you to fall asleep within the comfort of safety. So I permit certain pressure to arise, not to crush you, but to awaken the spiritual wings I placed within you long ago. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? As written in the book of Isaiah 43:19. A new season does not always arrive with loud noise. Many times it begins as a quiet stirring that no longer allows you to keep living the same way. I know there are moments when you grow weary from believing you have endured for far too long. But beloved, after the pain of childbirth, a mother often no longer remembers the full intensity of her suffering once she holds her child in her arms. The joy of new life overshadows the memory of the pain that came before it. And so it will be with you. The day will come when you look back upon this season and realize that what once made you weep was actually the doorway into a brighter season filled with greater light. I have already prepared paths your eyes cannot yet clearly see. I have already arranged the meetings, the opportunities, the healing, and even the joys waiting ahead of you. So today, do not allow your heart to shrink backward in hesitation. Step into this new season with the gentle hope of someone who knows their Father has already gone before them to prepare the way. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning, as written in the book of Psalms 35. Your dawn is nearer than you think. Beloved, there is something I want you to engrave engraved deeply within your heart. You are not a nameless soul drifting lost within this vast world. Before your first cry was ever heard, I had already placed my mark upon your life. Not the mark of human beings, something time can eventually erase, but a spiritual seal carved by everlasting love. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. As written in the book of Isaiah 43:1, that mark is not merely a beautiful comfort, it is the confirmation that your soul is known in heaven. I know every beat of your heart, every sorrow hidden behind your smile, every moment you tried to remain strong, while no one understood how exhausted you truly were. Nothing in your life is invisible before my eyes. There were seasons when you believed that Mark had faded because of your failures. You looked at your mistakes, your delays, your seasons of wandering, and wondered whether I still desired to call you mine. But beloved, my love does not change according to the unstable seasons of human emotions. When the prodigal son returned home, the father did not first ask how many times he had failed. He ran to embrace his child while he was still far away. That is my heart toward you as well. I have not forgotten the seal I placed upon your life, simply because you have experienced weakness. If we believe not, yet he abideth faithful, as written in the second epistle to Timothy 2:13. You may have doubted yourself, but I have never doubted the purpose I created for you. You are about to enter your divine future. Remember that this message does not end with you. People can use your breakthrough to get where they need to go through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, you can help this mission. By doing so, you are sowing into the awakening, deliverance, and restoration of souls who are still trapped in darkness. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." Every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and safety for your family. Now is your time, my child. Have faith, and as you do, watch God multiply what you let go of. Remember Jacob during the night he wrestled with the angel beside the river Jabbok. He entered that night carrying fear, shame, and the weight of old memories. But he emerged with a new name and a new mark upon his life. The struggle was not meant to destroy him, it was meant to transform him. And so it is with you. The pressure and dark nights you are enduring are not proof that I have abandoned you. It may very well be in those very hours that I am engraving my spiritual mark more deeply upon your soul. What is formed through pain often endures far longer than what comes easily. And the day will come when others look upon your life and see a light they cannot explain, because it is the light of someone who walked through the fire without losing their faith. Beloved, the mark I have placed upon you cannot be erased by the rejection of others. It does not disappear because you have wandered at times. It does not weaken because the circumstances of life have become difficult. There are many who allow the world to define their worth through success, failure, approval, or rejection. But your value did not begin with the opinions of people. It began when I called you mine. Behold, I have graven thee upon the palms of my hands. As written in the book of Isaiah 49:16. When I speak those words, I want you to understand that you can never be forgotten within my heart. So today, do not live like someone struggling to earn a place that was never absent from them. You do not need to race in order to be loved by me more deeply. You do not need to prove your worth through flawless performance. What I desire is for you to return to the truth, that you have belonged to me for a very long time already. And when you truly believe that, fear will begin losing its power over you. You will no longer desperately strive to be seen, because your soul will know that it is already recognized in heaven. You will no longer collapse so easily beneath pressure, because deep within you, there is an unshakable seal that nothing can destroy. And then every step you take will carry the peace of someone who understands they are being guided by eternal hands. Therefore, lift up your head. Beloved, pressure is not proof that you have been abandoned. Many times it is the trumpet announcing that a new season has already begun moving around your life. My mark upon you is still burning brightly, even when you cannot yet feel it, and very soon you will understand why. I would not allow you to remain in the old land, because ahead of you lies a field filled with light, where your soul will blossom more beautifully than you ever dared to dream. Beloved, there are nights when you lie awake in silence and wonder whether your life truly carries value in my eyes. You look at your failures, at the long seasons of waiting, and without realizing it, you allow the voice of doubt to slip into your heart like a cold wind, through a narrow crack in the door. But today, I want you to engrave within yourself a truth that nothing can shake. Before you learned how to walk, before you understood right from wrong, before you accomplished anything that could prove your worth, I had already called you mine. The mark I placed upon your soul was not created by human achievement or perfection. It was created by my everlasting love, a love that does not change according to your failures or victories. I have loved thee with an everlasting love, as written in the book of Jeremiah 31:3. So do not live like someone constantly racing to earn my approval. You do not need to strain yourself in order to be loved. You only need to open your heart and receive the love that has always belonged to you. The mark I placed upon you is not only the confirmation that you belong to me, it is also a quiet protection surrounding your life through every season. Like the king's seal upon an important letter, that mark declares that what lies within has been preserved, and that no one has the authority to alter it. The enemy may plant accusations within your mind, and may try to make you doubt your own value, but it cannot erase what I have ordained. Neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand, as written in the Gospel of John 10:28. Do you hear that? Beloved, I did not say there would be no battles. I did not say there would be no weary days. But I did say that through every battle, you remain held securely within my hands. Your life may sometimes shake like a tree beneath violent winds, yet your roots are anchored more deeply in my love than you realize. Beloved, many people spend their entire lives beneath the burden of trying to prove they are worthy. They strive endlessly to feel accepted, recognized, and loved. But I do not want you living as a slave to self-validation. When I chose David, he was not yet a king. When I called Jeremiah, he believed he was too young. When I chose Mary, she was only a humble young woman from a small village. I did not wait for them to become perfect before placing my hand upon their lives. I called them first, and then my grace guided them into maturity within that calling. And so it is with you. I do not love you because you do everything correctly. I love you because you are my child. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine, as written in the book of Isaiah 43:1. And when you truly understand that, the pressure to prove your worth will begin falling from your shoulders like old chains, finally broken away. And from that place of being loved, I want you to step into a holy boldness. Not the pride of someone who believes they are stronger than others, but the peace of someone who knows they are being led by the King of Heaven. There is a great difference between a person who trembles because they believe they must carve out their own path, and a person who knows their Father has already gone before them to prepare the way. When you understand that you carry my seal upon your life, you will stop panicking whenever a door closes. You will no longer live in fear of rejection, because you will know that what I have appointed for you will arrive at the right time. If God be for us, who can be against us? As written in the Epistle to the Romans 8:31, the doors truly meant for you will not open, because you strike harder than everyone else, but because I have already appointed the moment for them to open. Remember Esther, the young woman who once lived quietly within the palace before stepping into the defining moment of her life. During those hidden years, she may have believed her life was simply passing by in silence. Yet I was preparing her for a moment when an entire nation would need her courage to naturalize those hidden years may have appeared slow and meaningless. But in truth, it was within those unseen places that I was weaving strength, wisdom, and inner beauty into her spirit. And when the appointed time arrived, my seal upon Esther's life caused her to step forward, not only with beauty, but with the radiance of divine purpose. Beloved, I am doing the same within you. There are seasons when I allow you to remain unseen, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am protecting the precious things I placed within your soul from the hurried hands of the world. Do not despise those quiet seasons. A seed does not bloom on the very day it is planted. It requires time beneath the dark soil in order to grow deep roots. A pearl is not formed amid the applause of crowds, but in silence beneath the depths of the sea. And so it is with you. The days when no one applauds you, the seasons when no one fully understands what you are enduring, may actually become the most valuable parts of my preparation. It is there that I am teaching you how to remain humble while still carrying hope, how to stay patient while waiting, and how to hear my voice clearly than the noise of the world. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly, as written in the Gospel of Matthew 606. Not one hidden day of your life has been forgotten before me. Beloved, the time will come when the light I have placed upon your life can no longer remain hidden. What I have been quietly forming within you will eventually shine outward like dawn after a long night. Others will see within you a peace they cannot explain, a wisdom that does not come merely from books, and a gentleness that still remains after seasons of pain. And in that moment they will not merely see you, they will sense my presence through you. For the mark I have placed upon your soul was never meant to remain buried in darkness forever. It was created to reflect the light of heaven within this world. So today, stop living like someone who must fight to earn a place for themselves. Live instead like someone who already knows they have been chosen, loved, and protected from the very beginning. Walk forward with your shoulders lifted, not because of pride, but because of peace. And whenever the world tries to make you forget who you are, return to my voice whispering within your heart, you are mine. No pressure is stronger than those words. No darkness can erase the mark I have placed upon your life. Beloved, There are seasons when you look around your life and see only silence, stretching endlessly before you. As though every door remains motionless, you pray and continue waiting. You sow goodness yet still cannot see the harvest. And sometimes your heart begins to wonder whether I am still moving at all. But beloved, many of my deepest works are not accomplished amid the cheers of crowds, but within quiet places few people ever notice. While the world assumes nothing is happening, heaven is moving silently within your soul. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly, as written in the Gospel of Matthew 66. Not a single whispered prayer disappears into emptiness before me. Not one tear falls without my seeing it, and not one faithful step is ever wasted in my sight. I want you to understand that silent seasons are not signs that I have moved far away from you. Many times they are the moments when I am nearest to you. Just as a potter leans closely over the vessel he is shaping, I am carefully tending to the hidden places within your soul that natural eyes cannot yet see. There are things within you that must be healed before I entrust you with something greater. There are fragile places that must become stronger, so you will be able to carry the promises I intend to place into your hands. If I cared only about the outward appearance of your life, I would not allow you to walk through seasons this deep and hidden. But I am not building your life like a temporary shelter, easily destroyed by storms. I am building it like a house with foundations strong enough to endure through every season of wind and rain. We are the clay and thou art potter. As written in the book of Isaiah 64:8, sometimes my hands turn you through circles you do not yet understand, but every turn is shaping greater beauty and greater capacity within your soul. Beloved, do not despise the hidden place where I have positioned you. It is not a place of abandonment. It is a place of preparation. A seed does not bloom the moment it is planted. It must remain buried within dark soil for a season where no one can see the growth taking place. Yet it is precisely within that darkness that roots begin reaching deeper. If a seed impatiently tried to rise before its roots were secure, one strong wind would be enough to destroy it. And so it is with you. I am allowing the roots of your faith to grow deeply into me, so that when storms arrive, you will not be swept away by circumstances. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, as written in the book of Psalms 1:3. True strength is not found in loud appearances, but in the unseen depth within. Remember David during the years he spent tending sheep in the wilderness. Before all Israel knew his name, I already saw him standing faithfully among lonely fields. No crowds applauded while David protected a small flock of sheep. No one heard the songs he sang to me in the darkness of night. Yet it was precisely within those unnoticed places that I was training the heart of a king. When lions and bears came to attack the flock, no one else knew, but I knew, and those hidden battles were preparing him for the day he would stand before Goliath in front of an entire nation. Beloved, the small things you are doing today are no different. Perhaps no one praises your perseverance. Perhaps no one understands the quiet sacrifices you carry each day. But I see all of it. And the things you consider small are quietly building tremendous strength for tomorrow. Do not believe that only great accomplishments carry spiritual meaning. A prayer whispered for someone when no one else knows. An act of kindness when you yourself are exhausted. A moment when you choose faithfulness instead of surrender. These things may appear small in the eyes of the world, but in heaven they shine like refined gold. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. As written in the Gospel of Luke 16:10, I do not look only at outward results. I look at the heart that chooses love and obedience, even when no one is watching. It is faithfulness within hidden places that forms the person capable of standing firmly once they step into the light. Beloved, there are many who desire the harvest, but resist the season of sowing. They want fruit quickly, yet fear the long hidden months, when roots must grow unseen. But I am teaching you the value of holy patience. Everything truly lasting and beautiful requires time to be formed. A pearl is not created overnight. A mighty river is not born from a single brief rainstorm. And a soul with depth is not built through easy days alone. So when you find yourself walking through a quiet season, do not mistake it for meaningless delay. It may very well be that I am preparing within you a greater capacity than anything you have ever dared to ask for. I know there are times when you grow weary from feeling as though you are sowing without yet seeing the harvest. But trust me in this, no good seed is ever lost within my hands. Some of your prayers are already taking root in places your eyes cannot yet see. Some acts of kindness you offer today will become light for others in the future. Some qualities I am weaving into your spirit now will one day sustain you when greater responsibilities arrive. Let us not be weary in well doing, as written in the Epistle to the Galatians 6:99, for in due season we shall reap. If we faint not, your harvest has not been forgotten. It is simply growing quietly beneath the surface. So today, stop believing that your life is meaningless simply because few people notice you. Heaven notices, I notice, and within this hidden place, I am pouring into you wisdom, gentleness, patience, and strength that no earthly school could ever teach. And the day will come when I lead you out of this hidden season. When that moment arrives, others will see only the fruit, the peace, and the light resting upon your life. But you and I will both know where it truly began, within those quiet days no one else ever saw, when you remained faithful, even though there was no applause around you. Beloved, I have placed before you far more than your eyes can currently perceive. There are doors waiting to be opened, new seasons already prepared, divine encounters, healing, and beautiful opportunities, standing much closer to your life than you realize. But I want you to understand this. What opens those doors is not merely timing or favorable circumstances. It is obedience born from trust. I have not hidden that key in some distant place beyond your reach. I have placed it within the decisions you make today. And many times what I am waiting for is not a longer prayer, but a life that finally begins moving according to what I have already spoken into your heart. If ye love me, keep my commandments. As written in the Gospel of John 14:15, obedience is not merely hearing and feeling moved for a moment. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission will grow into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Giving to this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through hearts that are kind. This is what I say over you now. Each gift you give is like a stream of living water that flows into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and it will be given to you," is not just a verse for Jesus. It is a living promise that shapes your future. Allow me to invite you now with a simple act of faith. Come into this moment with purpose, with honesty, and with hope. The money you give today is not a donation. The act of spiritual obedience that lets your heavens open is what opens them. Let go of your seed and see what God brings back into your life. Obedience is allowing your life itself to answer through action. I know there are times when you want to see the entire road before taking even one step. You want every question answered, every danger removed, every emotion completely settled before saying yes. But beloved, if you wait until there is nothing left that requires trust, you will miss the deep beauty of walking with me. Faith does not grow where everything is certain. It grows when you choose to move forward through uncertainty, while still believing my hand is leading you. When I called Abraham to leave his homeland, I did not give him a map of the future. I spoke a word and he walked. And through that walk, a covenant was opened for generations to come. By faith Abraham, when he was called, obeyed as written in the epistle to the Hebrews 11:8. Do you see now? What moves heaven is not that you understand everything completely, but that you still choose to trust me when you cannot yet fully see. Obedience does not always come with feelings of strength or excitement. Some days it is only a quiet whisper within your heart saying, "Father, I will step forward." Yet those small responses carry the power to move the unseen world. There are angels sent forth when you decide not to turn away from what is right. There are doors that begin to open when you dare to take the first step in faith. And there are invisible chains broken the moment you stop delaying my calling upon your life. To obey is better than sacrifice, as written in the first book of Samuel 15:22. I am not searching for beautiful promises while your feet remain unmoving. I am searching for a heart soft enough to respond to my voice, even while trembling. Remember Naaman, the powerful commander afflicted with leprosy. When the prophet Elisha told him to wash 7 times in the Jordan River, the instruction sounded so simple that he almost became angry. He expected a dramatic miracle, some great display of power and ceremony. Yet healing was hidden within a humble act of obedience, and only when he humbled himself and obeyed did his flesh become restored. Beloved, many times I place similarly simple steps before you. Not everything requires a grand strategy. Sometimes your breakthrough is hidden within an apology. You need to speak a door, you need the courage to knock upon a decision you must stop delaying, or a surrender you have long known was necessary. What I ask may seem small in the eyes of people, but it is often that very obedience which opens the pathway for miracles. Beloved, do not think you must become perfect before you can obey me. Many people wait until they feel strong enough before they begin walking with me. But maturity often comes after the step of obedience, not before it. Peter did not walk upon the water because he had no fear. He walked because even in the middle of fear, he still heard my voice calling, "Come it." And when his feet touched the water, the impossible began to happen. And so it is with you. Some things in your life will only become clear after you begin moving forward. The light I give is like a lamp, illuminating the road in darkness enough for the next step. And then more light appears for the step after that. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. As written in the book of Psalms 119:105, I did not promise to show you your entire future at once. I promised that you would never walk alone. Beloved, every time you choose obedience instead of listening to fear, you are declaring that my love is greater than everything trying to hold you back. That is why obedience carries such sacred beauty. It does not only change outward circumstances, it transforms your soul itself. Those who continually obey me gradually learn the peace of someone who knows they are being guided. They no longer live through anxious control, but through the gentle trust that I will complete what I have begun. He which hath begun a good work in you will perform it. As written in the Epistle to the Philippians 106, you are not required to drag your future toward yourself by force. You only need to walk with me faithfully each day, and then you will realize that the hardest part is not the long road ahead, but the very first moment when you decide to say yes. Once that word rises from a sincere heart, the heavens seem to open wider. Your soul becomes lighter, and the road that once appeared dim slowly begins to brighten. Not because every trial immediately disappeared, but because you know you are no longer walking by your own strength. I am walking with you. I am sustaining you. And every step of obedience you take today is bringing you closer to the new season I prepared long ago. So today, do not merely feel moved by my words and then remain standing still. Let your feet follow what your heart already knows is right. Let your yes become the key that opens the good things waiting ahead, for I have never caused those who truly trust me to be put to shame. Beloved, many times you imagine miracles must begin with something enormous, dramatic, and far beyond human ability. But I want you to understand that within my kingdom, great things often begin through one very small act carried out with sincere obedience. A miracle does not begin with the size of what you hold in your hands. It begins with whether you are willing to place it into mine. Moses merely lifted the familiar staff he had always carried before the sea. But when he obeyed, the waters parted into a pathway of deliverance. The widow possessed only a small amount of oil. Yet when she began pouring according to the prophet's word, the oil never ceased flowing. A young boy carried only a few loaves and small fish. But when the disciples placed that little offering into my hands, thousands were fed. For with God, nothing shall be impossible. As written in the Gospel of Luke 1:37, what I require is not your abundance. What I seek is your willingness. Beloved, perhaps today you are looking at what I ask of you and thinking it is too small to matter. An apology, a fresh beginning, a decision to let go of something no longer belonging in your life, a phone call you keep delaying, a door you need courage to knock upon. But beloved, those very small steps are often where great doors begin to open. Naaman was healed not through a magnificent ceremony, but through the simple act of lowering himself into the river in obedience to my word. Joshua and the people of Israel merely walked around the walls of Jericho according to my instruction, and the walls that seemed impossible to break came crashing down. Obedience does not always appear reasonable to the human mind, but it always creates room for my power to move. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. As written in the book of Proverbs, some things are only understood after you step forward, not before. I know there are many times when you want to wait until everything becomes more certain before taking action. You want to see the entire bridge before placing your first foot upon it. But faith does not work that way. The light I give is often like a lantern in the darkness, It does not illuminate the whole journey ahead, but it gives enough light for the next step, and when you take that step, I reveal more light again. If you remain standing still, waiting for everything to become perfectly clear, you will never truly learn how to walk with me. The just shall live by his faith. As written in the book of Habakkuk, faith is not seeing everything before believing. Faith is trusting me enough to keep walking, even when you cannot yet see it all. Remember Peter on the sea that night. The waves were still violent. The wind was still strong. Nothing in the natural world guaranteed that water could hold the weight of a human being. Yet the moment he heard my voice saying, "Come," he stepped out of the familiar safety of the boat, and there upon the unstable waters, he experienced what no one else inside the boat ever saw. Beloved, many people desire miracles while refusing to leave the places where they feel safe. They demand complete certainty before moving forward. But miracles often happen outside familiar territory, where all you can do is hold tightly to my hand with simple trust. If Peter had waited for the waves to become perfectly calm before stepping out, he would never have discovered that even the sea itself could become a place of encounter with my power. Beloved, do not think that your obedience affects only your own life. Some of the steps you take today are opening pathways for many other souls you have never even met. When Esther chose to step before the king, her obedience became the salvation of an entire nation. When Joseph remained faithful through prison and pain, he eventually became the source of survival for countless people during a great famine. You do not realize that your yes today may become the bridge leading someone else toward the light, so do not underestimate the things I am urging your heart to do. There are seasons of blessing meant not only for you, but also for those I desire to reach through your life. Beloved, obedience is also one of the ways you protect the calling I have placed upon your life. Every time you delay what I have already illuminated within your spirit, doubt gains more room to grow within your mind. But when you walk immediately in the light I have given, the voices of fear and denial begin to lose their strength. Confidence does not always arrive before action. Many times it grows stronger during the very process of walking forward, just as muscles are formed through movement rather than through remaining still. Your faith also becomes stronger when it is practiced through obedience. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only. As written in the Epistle of James 1:22, I do not want you merely to feel moved by truth. I want that truth to become the feet that lead your life forward. And then you will begin to understand that obedience is not the loss of freedom, but the entrance into guidance from a wisdom far greater than your own. There are things you do not yet fully understand today, but I have already seen them from beginning to end. I know which doors lead you toward life, and which doors are only beautiful illusions that eventually wound the soul. When you surrender your direction to me, you are not losing something good. You are being protected from the things that would lead your spirit astray. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. As written in the book of Psalms 32:8, I do not lead you through force, but through the gentle love of a father who sees far beyond what you can currently see. So today, do not keep the light I have given you as merely a beautiful thought within your heart. Walk in it. Let your feet move faster than hesitation. Let your yes become stronger than every fear still whispering within you. And once you begin walking, you will be amazed to discover that the small thing you once held in your hands, when placed into mine, can open fields of miracles far greater than anything you ever dared to imagine. Beloved, every time you choose obedience, not only are the circumstances ahead transformed, but your soul itself begins to expand. Obedience is like opening the door of your heart so the light of heaven can reach deeper places, still filled with fear and uncertainty. There are things you will never fully understand merely through thought or analysis. You must walk with me in order to experience them. And as you walk, your heart will become more sensitive to my voice. The things that once seemed unclear will gradually grow brighter. Ordinary moments will begin carrying sacred meaning. You will realize that I am speaking to you, even through the smallest details of daily life, through a timely word of encouragement, an unexpected open door, or a gentle peace appearing in the middle of unchanged circumstances. My sheep hear my voice, as written in the Gospel of John 10:27. My voice does not only guide you onto the right path, it teaches your soul how to live nearer to me day by day. Beloved, the true joy I desire to give you does not come from everything around you becoming perfect. It comes from knowing that you are walking in the right direction together with me. There is a deep and quiet joy the world cannot understand. The joy of someone who knows they are living within the will of the one who created them. When you obey me, even in the midst of trials, there will still be a quiet river of peace flowing within your spirit. The joy of the Lord is your strength, as written in the book of Nehemiah 8:10. That joy will carry you through the seasons ahead, sustain you when strong winds rise, and remind you that you are not merely existing. You are walking within the story I wrote for your life before the foundations of the world were laid. Beloved, do not think that one act of obedience today is something small. There are quiet decisions that can redirect entire generations that come after you. When Ruth chose to leave her homeland and follow Naomi with a faithful heart, she did not know that her steps would lead into a lineage through which the Savior of the world would one day come. Her simple "I will go" became a bridge for a plan far greater than anything she could have imagined. And so it is with you. The steps you take today may reach people you have never met and open blessings for future seasons you cannot yet see. In my kingdom, no act of obedience is ever meaningless. Let us not be weary in well-doing, as written in the Epistle to the Galatians 6:29. For every faithful seed will come to its appointed season of harvest. Beloved, there are moments I place along your journey like doors that only open within a specific season, not because I am unstable, but because everything in my plan moves like a river, always flowing forward. I do not remain fixed in one moment. There are spiritual opportunities that appear only when your heart and my appointed time meet. And when that moment comes, I want you to respond with the boldness of faith, rather than the hesitation of fear. Now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation, as written in the second epistle to the Corinthians 6:2. You do not need another perfect sign before beginning what I have already placed within your heart. Many times the gentle stirring you already feel is itself the confirmation you have been waiting for. I know your mind sometimes wants to pause and analyze every possible outcome. But beloved, if you only think without stepping forward, the fire I have placed within you will slowly grow dim. The enemy does not always need to turn you away. completely from my voice. Sometimes it only needs to delay you long enough for your certainty to grow cold. So today, let your heart respond faster than the voice of fear. There are blossoms that open only with the rising sun, and if you hesitate too long, you will only see them close by evening. What I have prepared for you does not disappear, because my love changes. But every season carries its own appointed flow, and I do not want you to miss the stream of blessing that is opening right now. Remember the people of Israelites during the first Passover night, when I commanded them to be ready to leave in the same night. They were not allowed to delay until they felt fully prepared. They had to eat with readiness for departure, shoes on their feet, staff in their hands, hearts prepared for a new journey. And it was in that immediate response that they stepped out of years of bondage. Beloved, I am calling you into a similar transition. Some chains will not break by thinking about freedom. They break when you rise and walk in response to my voice. Do not be afraid if you cannot yet see everything ahead. I have never asked you to fully understand my plan before beginning the journey. I only ask you to trust that the one who leads you is the one who sees the end from the beginning. I am Alpha and Omega. As written in the book of Revelation 2013, when you give me your yes, you are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into the arms of the one who has already prepared your future with perfect love and wisdom. So today, do not remain standing outside the door I am opening. Step in with the simplicity of faith. Let your heart respond before doubt has time to pull you back. And then you will realize that this present moment is not an ordinary day in your life. It is the intersection between the promise I have prepared and the response of your soul. It is here that a new story begins to be written. Beloved, the moment I call you has never been a coincidence. I do not bring you to this threshold too early, when your soul is still unable to carry what is new, nor too late, where the promise loses the beauty of its appointed timing. I have guarded every season of your life with eternal wisdom, quietly preparing you through days of joy and nights of darkness that you often could not understand while walking through them. And now, as you stand before this moment, I want you to know that everything has come together at exactly the right time. The lessons of your past, the tears you once shed, the moments you thought were failure, yet still rose again. All of it is becoming the foundation for your step today. To everything there is a season, as written in the book of Ecclesiastes. And the season I have appointed for you in this moment is no longer far away. It stands right before you. Beloved, I want you to sense clearly that something new is beginning to move within your soul. You may not yet see the full picture, but deep within your heart, there is already a gentle stirring that does not cease. This is not a fleeting impulse. It is my voice woven into the rhythm of your heartbeat. Like a drum announcing the dawn after a long night, there are sacred moments when the soul recognizes before the mind fully understands. When Mary heard the message of the angel, she did not comprehend the entire future ahead of her. Yet her spirit recognized my presence in that moment, and her simple words, "Let it be unto me," opened a new chapter not only for her life, but for all of humanity. And so it is with you. Some yes spoken in quiet surrender echoes through eternity. Blessed is she that believed, as written in the Gospel of Luke 1:45. Blessing does not come only when everything is fully understood, but when you trust me even in what is still unclear. I know you have often thought that you needed more preparation before stepping into what I have prepared. But beloved, I do not call you because you are perfect. I call you because you are willing to trust me more than before. A deep maturity has already been formed within you through hidden seasons. You are no longer the one who easily gives up as before. You are no longer naive before the storms of life. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. The wounds that have been healed, the lessons learned in solitude, all of them are shaping a soul deep enough to stand in this new season. He which hath begun a good work in you will perform it, as written in the epistle to the Philippians 1:10-16. I have not brought you here to abandon you halfway. If I have opened the door, I will also give you strength to walk through it. Beloved, when you enter the season I have prepared, a very different kind of peace will cover your heart. Not a peace that depends on the disappearance of every problem, but a deep inner stillness that comes from knowing you are exactly where I desire you to be. Even if storms remain outside, within you, there will be a quiet flowing river that does not cease. This is the compass I have placed within your spirit to guide you through every step ahead. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds, as written in the epistle to the Philippians 407. When you walk in step with my voice, you will realize that peace is no longer dependent on perfect circumstances, but on knowing who walks with you. Remember Joshua as he stood before the Jordan River during flood season. Everything before his eyes suggested that crossing was impossible. But I did not call him to step forward because conditions were easy. I called him because the appointed time had come. And when the feet of the priest touched the water, the river began to hold back. The miracle did not come before obedience. It appeared in the very act of stepping forward. Beloved, you too are standing before your own river, where logic says retreat, but your soul already knows it is time to move. I do not require you to understand everything. I only ask you to trust enough to take the first step. Do not continue carrying the excuses of delay, like an old garment too small for your new season. There are doors of grace opening even now. There are promises waiting for your response to begin unfolding. And I do not want you standing outside the threshold, because fear has not yet fully gone silent. The woman who had suffered for 12 years did not wait until her trembling disappeared before pushing through the crowd to touch the edge of my garment. It was in her weakness yet sincere trust that healing power flowed. And so it is with you. Do not wait until every doubt is gone before you step. Step with me even in the midst of your trembling. Beloved, every step you take in obedience today is writing a story larger than your own life. There will be people who see light within your journey and rediscover hope for themselves. There will be wandering souls led closer to me, simply because you did not turn away from your appointed moment. ye are the light of the world, as written in the Gospel of Matthew 5:14. I am not bringing you into a new season only for your own blessing. I desire for your life to become a lamp that guides many others. So today, lift your head and walk through the open door. Do not stand only at a distance, looking at what I have prepared. I have carried you through many seasons to arrive at this place, and now I am no longer calling you to be a spectator of the promise. I am calling you to enter and live within it. When you do, you will see each new page of your life filled with traces of my love, divinely appointed encounters, unexpected miracles, and seasons of fruitfulness you once only dared to whisper through tears. This is no longer a distant promise. Beloved, this is the moment for you to step in and receive what I have prepared for you from the beginning. Beloved, there are nights when you look back over your journey and wonder why so many things you longed for did not happen when you expected them to. You saw doors closed just as you thought you had finally found a way forward. You saw relationships you believed would last dissolve like morning mist. At times, you thought your waiting was nothing more than wasted delay. But today, I want you to see it with new eyes. Not one season I led you through was wasted. Not one silent stretch of your life was empty. Even when you thought you were standing still, I was quietly working within your soul. All things work together for good to them that love God, as written in the Epistle to the Romans 8:28. Some things are only understood when you look back and realize that what felt like delay was actually a loving protection. I know there were doors that closed and caused your heart to ache. You stood before them with sincere hope, believing that if you could enter, your life would finally become better. But beloved, not every open door before you leads to where your soul is meant to dwell. Some things appear as blessings in the moment, yet I see the long path behind them: exhaustion, hidden wounds, and silent costs you were not yet able to recognize. So I stopped you not to take joy away from you, but to protect you from what would have dimmed the light within you, like a shepherd pulling a sheep away from the edge of a cliff before it understands why it is being stopped. I have often rescued you from paths that would have drained your spirit. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil, as written in the book of Psalms 121:7. Some of my protection comes disguised as a closed door. Beloved, do not remain sorrowful over what did not stay. There are people you once thought were destined for your life, but I knew they were only meant to walk with you for a short portion of your journey. If I had allowed them to remain, your soul would have become attached to places that could not sustain what I have placed within you. Some connections, if prolonged, would have caused you to lose peace, lose direction, and even lose yourself. And because I know your value more deeply than you can see in yourself, I did not allow you to settle in those temporary places, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, as written in the book of Jeremiah 29:11. My thoughts toward you are not to deprive you, but to lead you into something far more complete than what you could ask for within your limited understanding. Remember Joseph when he was sold by his own brothers and later forgotten in prison. From a human perspective, every door in his life seemed to be closing. He may have wondered whether I had abandoned him in those lonely years. Yet it was precisely in the darkest place that I was preparing him to become the one who would preserve an entire nation. If Joseph had remained in the comfort of his former home, he would never have stepped into the greater purpose I had appointed. And so it is with you. What I have taken away is not because I am against you, but because I am leading you out of what is too small for the calling on your life. What I remove is not your highest good. It is only what you once thought you could not live without. Beloved, every step you take in obedience today is writing a story larger than your own life. There will be people who see light within your journey and rediscover hope for themselves. There will be wandering souls led closer to me simply because you did not turn away from your appointed moment. Ye are the light of the world, as written in the Gospel of Matthew 5:14. I am not bringing you into a new season only for your own blessing. I desire for your life to become a lamp that guides many others. So today, lift your head and walk through the open door. Do not stand only at a distance looking at what I have prepared. I have carried you through many seasons to arrive at this place, and now I am no longer calling you to be a spectator of the promise. I am calling you to enter and live within it. When you do, you will see each new page of your life filled with traces of my love, divinely appointed encounters, unexpected miracles, and seasons of fruitfulness you once only dared to whisper through tears. This is no longer a distant promise. Beloved, this is the moment for you to step in and receive what I have prepared for you from the beginning. Beloved, there are nights when you look back over your journey and wonder why so many things you longed for did not happen when you expected them to. You saw doors closed just as you thought you had finally found a way forward. You saw relationships you believed would last dissolve like morning mist. At times you thought your waiting was nothing more than wasted delay. But today I want you to see it with new eyes. Not one season I led you through was wasted. Not one silent stretch of your life was empty. Even when you thought you were standing still, I was quietly working within your soul. All things work together for good to them that love God, as written in the Epistle to the Romans 8:28. Some things are only understood when you look back and realize that what felt like delay was actually a loving protection. I know there were doors that closed and caused your heart to ache. You stood before them with sincere hope, believing that if you could enter, your life would finally become better. But beloved, not every open door before you leads to where your soul is meant to dwell. Some things appear as blessings in the moment, yet I see the long path behind them. Exhaustion, hidden wounds, and silent costs you were not yet able to recognize. So I stopped you not to take joy away from you, but to protect you from what would have dimmed the light within you, like a shepherd pulling a sheep away from the edge of a cliff before it understands why it is being stopped. I have often rescued you from paths that would have drained your spirit. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil, as written in the book of Psalms 121:7. Some of my protection comes disguised as a closed door. Beloved, do not remain sorrowful over what did not stay. There are people you once thought were destined for your life, but I knew they were only meant to walk with you for a short portion of your journey. If I had allowed them to remain, your soul would have become attached to places that could not sustain what I have placed within you. Some connections, if prolonged, would have caused you to lose peace, lose direction, and even lose yourself. And because I know your value more deeply than you can see in yourself, I did not allow you to settle in those temporary places For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, as written in the book of Jeremiah 29:11. My thoughts toward you are not to deprive you, but to lead you into something far more complete than what you could ask for within your limited understanding. Remember Joseph when he was sold by his own brothers and later forgotten in prison? From a human perspective, every door in his life seemed to be closing. He may have wondered whether I had abandoned him in those lonely years. Yet, it was precisely in the darkest place that I was preparing him to become the one who would preserve an entire nation. If Joseph had remained in the comfort of his former home, he would never have stepped into the greater purpose I had appointed, and so it is with you. What I have taken away is not because I am against you, but because I am leading you out of what is too small for the calling on your life. What I remove is not your highest good. It is only what you once thought you could not live without. Beloved, I know that seasons of loneliness often make your heart the most vulnerable to doubt. When the noise around you fades, you begin to feel as though you have been left behind while others move forward. But beloved, it is precisely in these quieter seasons that I draw you closest to me. There are things I can only speak clearly when your soul is no longer surrounded by so many competing voices. Be still and know that I am God. As written in the book of Psalms 46:10, silence is not always an empty space to fear. Often it is the enclosed room where I heal, teach, and renew your spirit. Do not confuse being set apart with being abandoned. There are lives I allow to move within the crowd, and there are souls I draw aside from noise in order to prepare them for deeper purpose. Moses spent years in the wilderness before standing before the burning bush. David walked through silent seasons of shepherding before stepping onto the throne. Even when I walked the earth, I often withdrew to lonely places to pray before major turning points. Do you see it now? Hidden seasons are not signs of worthlessness. They are where true strength is formed. I am teaching you to walk not only by human confirmation, but by heavenly direction. Beloved, one day when you look back, you will realize that many things that once hurt you were actually protecting you from greater pain. You will understand why I did not allow certain doors to open. You will be grateful for prayers that were not answered immediately, and you will see that seasons of waiting did not waste your life. They deepened it, softened it, and strengthened it. Some beauty can only be formed through patience. Some fruit only comes when roots have grown deep enough beneath the soil. So today, stop seeing this silent season as meaningless delay. See it as my covering over you, shielding you from what is not yet ready for your life. I have never left you, not even for a moment. In the very days you felt most alone, I was nearer to you than you could perceive. And soon you will see that every path I closed was only to guide you toward a better one, a path where your soul does not merely survive, but truly blossoms in the light and peace I have prepared for you from the beginning. Beloved, stop binding your heart to questions that begin with, "If only." I know there are nights when you look back and imagine that if a door had not closed, if someone had stayed, if an opportunity had worked out, you might have been happier today. But your soul was never created to live forever. Turn backward toward what no longer belongs to you. The past has already completed its purpose. It was never meant to imprison you in regret, but to teach you what truly matters. Forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth under those things which are before. As written in the Epistle to the Philippians 3:13, I do not want you carrying old shadows into the new season I am opening before you. There were prayers you once believed I ignored, but in truth, I answered them with a wisdom deeper than you could understand at the time. You asked for a door, but I saw what lay beyond it would exhaust you. You asked for a connection, but I saw the pain it would later bring into your spirit. You asked to move faster, but I knew your shoulders were not yet strong enough for what you were requesting. So I said, not yet, not because I withhold good from you, but because I love you too much to give you what is not yet aligned with your timing. He hath made everything beautiful in his time, as written in the book of Ecclesiastes. Some gifts only preserve their beauty when they are given in the right season. Beloved, do not regard the unfinished parts of your life as proof of failure. Some journeys must be interrupted along the way, so you do not stray from your true purpose. A sculptor sometimes must cut away pieces of wood that appear beautiful so that the final work may become more refined and complete. If he keeps everything he likes, the work remains rough and lacking depth. I have also worked in this way within your life. There are relationships I have removed from your hands because they would have slowly drained your peace. There are opportunities I did not allow to succeed because they would have led you away from the light I appointed for you. You are about to enter your divine future. Remember that this message does not end with you. People can use your breakthrough to get where they need to go through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. You can help this mission. By doing so, you are sowing into the awakening, deliverance, and restoration of souls who are still trapped in darkness. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." Every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and safety for your family. Now is your time, my child. Have faith, and as you do, watch God multiply what you let go of. I do not take away to leave you empty. I remove to create space for something greater. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. As written in the book of Job 1:21, even in what I remove, my love is still present. Remember Paul, when he prayed for the thorn in his flesh to be taken away. He desired immediate deliverance from what caused him pain. But I did not respond according to his expectation. Instead, I taught him that my grace was sufficient for him precisely in that weakness, and what he once perceived as a burden became the very place where my power was made most evident. And so it is with you. There are things you ask me to change instantly. Yet, I am using the season of waiting to build within you a depth you could never have gained if everything had come quickly. Delays are not always refusals. Many times they are divine preparation. Beloved, I know the tears you have shed seem to disappear into emptiness, but not a single one has been wasted. Every time you cried in solitude, yet refused to let bitterness take root, something within you was softened so that my love could reach deeper. Every time you were disappointed yet did not turn away from faith, the roots of your soul grew deeper into me. Thou tellest my wanderings, put thou my tears into thy bottle. As written in the book of Psalms 56:8, I do not merely see your tears, I hold them as precious. What wounded you yesterday is becoming the soil for your growth today. When you feel most empty, It is often because I am quietly building within you a stronghold that cannot be easily shaken. The world measures strength by outward noise, but I build strength from within. A great tree does not stand because of its visible branches, but because of the unseen roots beneath the ground, and so I am doing the same with you. In seasons of silence, I am teaching your soul to anchor itself in me, rather than in human approval. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. As written in the book of Isaiah 41:31, waiting in faith does not weaken you. It is making you more enduring. Beloved, I have often restrained you from things that looked radiant on the outside, but carried long-term weariness within. Some offers resembled blessings at first glance, but would have stolen your peace over time. Some paths appear shorter, yet would have pulled you away from the purpose I have written over your life. That is why I have not allowed everything you desired to arrive immediately. A loving father does not give a child everything it demands in the moment. He sees beyond the present and protects the child's future. I have loved you in this same way. The Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly, as written in the book of Psalms 84:7-11. If I have withheld something, it is not because I desire lack for you, but because I am preserving what is truly better for you. Beloved, so today, learn to gently lay down the regrets that have weighed upon your heart for far too long. Do not continue living as someone trying to gather up fragments. I have already rescued you from carrying. Trust that everything I have allowed is leading you towards something deeper, more peaceful, and more beautiful than what you have known. And soon, when you stand within the new season I have prepared for you, you will look back with eyes full of gratitude. You will understand why I did not grant everything you once asked for immediately, and you will realize that waiting in my hands was never loss. It was always part of a hidden miracle, forming quietly within your life. Beloved, I know there were moments when you stood still at the crossroads of your life, filled with questions, yet unsure which direction to take. At times, you walked a path only to look back later with regret, believing you had wasted time on what led nowhere. But if you could see your journey through my eyes, you would understand that not a single step was meaningless. Even the winding roads you once called wrong turns. I used to teach you things that straight paths could never have given you. Some lessons in humility only come after falling. Some depth in love and faith is formed only through seasons of feeling lost. A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps, as written in the book of Proverbs. Even when you thought you were walking alone, my hand was quietly guiding your life. I know you have looked at closed doors with a heavy heart. There were things you prayed for over long seasons. There were people you wished would remain in your life forever, and when they slipped from your hands, your heart wondered why I did not stop it. But today, I want you to understand that many of the doors I closed were expressions of my mercy toward your future. If I had allowed you to go further down certain paths, you would have carried burdens your soul was never meant to bear. Some connections look beautiful on the surface, yet slowly drain the peace within you. Some opportunities appear like blessings, but end in exhaustion and a loss of self. So I intervene not to take good things from you, but to protect you from what was smaller than the purpose I have prepared for your life. The Lord will give grace and glory, no good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. As written in the book of Psalms 84:11, if I have withheld something, it is because I am preserving something greater. Beloved, learn to release gently what has already completed its role in your life. I know there are memories you still hold tightly, because you fear that letting go might mean losing a part of yourself. But hands that never release the old will have no space to receive what is new. When I called Abraham to leave his homeland, he could not step into the promised land while still clinging to what he left behind. Some seasons of transition require you to trust me enough to release without yet seeing what lies ahead. And it is precisely within that seeming emptiness that I begin to fill your soul with something better. Behold, I will do a new thing, as written in the book of Isaiah 43:19. But what is new cannot take root in soil still crowded with what is already died. Remember the people of Israelites when I led them out of Egypt. They had been delivered from bondage, yet their hearts still clung to the memory of it. At times in the wilderness, they longed to return to what had once enslaved them simply because they feared the unknown ahead, and so it is with you. Often what exhausts you is not that I have failed to make a way, but that part of you is still trying to hold on to what I have long been freeing you from. But beloved, I did not call you out of darkness so you could remain bound by nostalgia for it. I called you forward into the light that is waiting for you to step into it with a whole heart. Beloved, I know there are times when you feel you have lost too much time. But in truth, not a single season I have allowed in your life has been wasted. The days you thought you were forgotten were the very moments I was quietly building depth within your soul. A strong river is not formed overnight. It must flow through rocks, through bends, through places unseen by most eyes. And so it is with you. The clarity you carry today did not come by accident. It was formed through every moment you chose to keep trusting, even when results were not yet visible. Every time you rose again after being wounded, every season you learned to listen to me in silence. Tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, as written in the epistle to the Romans 5:1-3-4. What once caused you pain is now becoming the foundation of the gentle strength you carry today. Beloved, there will come a day when you look back over your entire journey and no longer call your past a series of losses. You will see that every scattered fragment of your life was being woven by me into a story filled with meaning. The times you were rejected protected you from what was never meant for you. The seasons of loneliness taught you how to root yourself in me rather than in people. The winding paths opened your eyes to what truly matters. And then you will understand, I have never allowed you to be lost from my hand, not even for a single day. So today, let your heart rest from regret. Do not continue carrying the burden of what has passed as though it still has authority over your future. I am opening a new season before you, and you need free hands to receive it. When you release what no longer belongs to you, light will enter more quickly, peace will remain more deeply, and your soul will begin to move with greater ease. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, as written in the book of Psalms 55:22. I did not create you to live bound to regret. I created you to walk forward in hope. And very soon you will realize that everything I have allowed, both joy and tears, has been leading you to this very moment. A moment where your soul has become deep enough to recognize what truly matters. mature enough to discern what is real and clear enough not to miss the door I am opening before you. This is not the end of your journey, beloved. It is the place where all previous seasons begin to converge into wisdom, guiding you into a version of yourself that is more beautiful, more resilient, and more at peace in me. Beloved, allow what is behind you to rest in my hands. Do not keep reopening old wounds or turning back toward doors that have already closed. No one can step fully into a new dawn while still sleeping in the shadow of yesterday. I do not condemn you for having been hurt, for having felt regret, or for having moved slowly. But now I am asking you to gently lay it all down at my feet, so your hands are no longer occupied with what cannot be carried into your new season, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before, as written in the Epistle to the Philippians 3:13. It is not because your past had no value, but because it has already fulfilled its purpose. It has taught you, shaped you, and now it is making space for what is being born before you. Beloved, when I call you forward, I do not want you to walk with the panic of someone afraid of missing something. I want you to walk with the steady gentleness of someone who knows they are moving toward light. There is a great difference between anxious rushing and faith-filled movement. When you truly know I am waiting ahead of you, your soul will no longer tremble in confusion. You will no longer move from pressure to prove yourself, but from the realization that my love is guiding every step. The Lord, He is the one that goeth before thee. As written in the book of Deuteronomy 31:8, you are not stepping into emptiness. You are moving toward the hands I have already prepared for you to meet. Beloved, do not think that my confirmation always comes through dramatic events or great signs that everyone can see. Many times I speak to you through things so small and ordinary that if your heart is not still enough, you will miss them entirely. I am present in the quiet relief you feel after choosing trust instead of anxiety. I am present in the gentle peace that rises when you decide to forgive rather than hold on to bitterness. I am present in a simple act of kindness you offer when no one is watching. Heaven does not only move in extraordinary moments, it is also present in every simple act you do with love and faithfulness. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. As written in the Gospel of Luke 16:7-10, the small things you are doing today are the very threads I am using to weave your future. Beloved, remember Naaman the commander, who once expected a magnificent miracle for his healing. He believed my power had to come through something extraordinary, yet his healing came through something simple: humbling himself and washing repeatedly in a river in obedience. And so it is with you. What will open the new season of your life may not be a loud or dramatic moment, but the quiet, consistent choices you make each day, choosing peace instead of panic, continuing to pray even when you do not yet see results, and taking one more step forward when nothing feels fully clear. These seemingly ordinary acts are building within you a foundation strong enough for what is greater. Beloved, do not despise these hidden seasons. While the world sees little outward change, your soul is being trained deeply within. An athlete does not enter a race without unseen days of discipline. A blacksmith does not forge a sharp blade in a single moment of fire. And I do not prepare you for your new season through ease alone, but through quiet shaping that no one else observes. In these ordinary days, You are learning to recognize my voice more clearly than the noise around you. You are learning when to pause, when to wait, and when to step forward. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission will grow into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Giving to this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through hearts that are kind. This is what I say over you now. Each gift you give is like a stream of living water that flows into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and it will be given to you is not just a verse for Jesus. It is a living promise that shapes your future. Allow me to invite you now with a simple act of faith. Come into this moment with purpose, with honesty, and with hope. The money you give today is not a donation. The act of spiritual obedience that lets your heavens open is what opens them. Let go of your seed and see what God brings back into your life. As written in the book of Isaiah 4:31, waiting in me does not make you weaker or slower, it makes you deeper. Beloved, I have never left you to walk this journey alone. My Spirit goes with you in every small step. When you feel weak, He is the gentle strength beneath your weary shoulders. When you are uncertain which direction to take, He is the quiet whisper leading your heart back to peace. When you feel misunderstood and alone, He is the unseen breath reminding you that you are still deeply loved and held. The Comforter shall abide with you forever, as written in the Gospel of John 14:16. This presence does not withdraw simply because you are tired. In fact, in your weakest moments, I draw even closer. Every time you obey me, even in the smallest matters, another spiritual imprint is written upon your journey. The world may not see it, but heaven sees it. Your quiet steps are becoming a living testimony that you belong to me. Not because you are more perfect than others, but because you continue walking with me in a restless world. And there will come a time when others look at your life and see a peace they cannot explain, a gentleness that remains after many seasons of testing, and a light that darkness cannot extinguish. That is the mark of my presence upon your life. So today, beloved, keep walking forward. Fix your eyes on what is ahead rather than continually looking back at what is behind. Let every small act of faith become a stone laid on the path of a new way being built before you. And as you walk with me in this way, you will come to see that not a single moment of your journey has been meaningless. Every heartbeat, every tear, every time you chose obedience in silence, all of it has been bringing you closer to the radiant light I prepared for you from the very beginning. Beloved, now stand in the truth I have already planted within you long ago. Do not continue living as though you are still wandering in search of light in the darkness, for that light has already been given to you. What you once cried out for through tears, what you once searched for through seasons of solitude, it now stands before you like a dawn breaking wide. After a long night, you ask me to take your hand. And know this, my hand has never left you for even a single moment. The question now is whether you will place your hand fully in mine. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. As written in the book of Isaiah 43:1, this moment is not a coincidence of life. It is a sacred intersection written in my book. before you ever knew you would pass through it. Beloved, understand that there are seasons in life that carry a very particular kind of grace, not because I stopped loving when a season passes, but because every door has its appointed time. A flower does not bloom endlessly under the same sun. A river does not remain in one shape forever, and the opportunities I place before you today are the same. I do not speak this to make you afraid, but to awaken spiritual attentiveness within you. There are things that can only be received when the heart responds at the right moment. Today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as written in the epistle to the Hebrews 3:7-15. Do not delay what your soul already recognizes clearly simply because your mind still seeks more certainty. Some steps must be taken by faith before the full picture is revealed. Beloved, the journey you have walked has never been for you alone. The seasons of pain you have endured, the times you were pressed down and yet lifted again, the days you thought you had no strength left to continue, all of it is becoming light for others who are still lost in darkness. There are souls who will find hope by seeing how I raised you up. There are hearts who will believe again in love by hearing the story of your healing. There are lives that feel dry and empty who will be refreshed simply because you did not give up along the way. Ye are the light of the world, as written in the Gospel of Matthew 5:14. I did not take you through fire merely so you would survive it. I brought you through so your life would become a guiding lamp for others trembling in the night. Remember Esther. There was a time when she was only a quiet young woman behind closed doors, unaware that a nation would one day be saved through her life. To human eyes, those hidden years seemed slow and unremarkable. But I was clothing her in a mantle of divine purpose, and when the moment came, she could no longer live as someone thinking only of herself. She had to step forward, trembling, knowing it could cost her everything. Beloved, I am placing a similar mantle upon you. Not a garment of pride or display, but a mantle of assignment. It carries the weight of love, of responsibility, and of the light I desire to flow through you into the world. Do not treat that mantle lightly. It is not placed upon you so that you may feel more special than others. It is placed upon you so that you may live more faithfully to what I have already revealed to you. There are those who desire the outward appearance of a calling, but resist the depth of obedience it requires. But beloved, true light is never produced through performance. It is formed in a soul that has learned to remain close to me. Therefore, I am teaching you to live truthfully in what your heart has already recognized. If I have shown you the light, do not return to make peace with darkness. If I have awakened a calling within you, do not allow the small voices of fear to silence it. Wherefore I put thee in remembrance, that thou stir up the gift of God which is in thee, as written in the second epistle to Timothy 1:16. This is no longer a time for what I have placed within you to remain only as a faint ember beneath the ashes of delay. Beloved, there will always be voices attempting to pull you back into what is familiar. Some fears will disguise themselves as wisdom in order to slow your steps. But you must learn to discern what is my voice and what is the voice of hesitation. My voice may cause you to tremble before what lies ahead. Yet within it there is always peace. The voice of fear is the opposite. It keeps you still yet leaves your heart unsettled. Therefore today, anchor your soul deeply in my presence. It is the only place where your steps remain steady amid all the shifting of life. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty, as written in the book of Psalms 91:1. When you remain near me, you will not easily be moved by the noise around you. There is a transition taking place within you, and I ask you to guard it with the full attentiveness of your soul. This is not merely a change of habits or thoughts. I am reshaping your inner being so that you may stand firm in the place I am preparing for you. A tree that is meant to bear much fruit must have roots strong enough to carry the weight of harvest. So it is with you. I am deepening your roots of faith, widening your capacity of heart, and strengthening your inner endurance, so that you will not only enter the new season, but remain and flourish within it. Therefore, today rise in the assurance I have placed within you. No longer bow to doubt. No longer live as one still searching for what has already been given. The answer has come. The door has been opened. My hand is already extended toward you, and as you step forward in obedience, you will realize that the entire journey behind you, every tear, every season of waiting, every breaking and restoration has been leading you into this very sacred moment where you no longer merely hear about the promise, but begin to live within it.